Have you ever wondered why that person who hurts you so much is still in your life? Why you feel a pain in your chest every time the phone rings and it's them? I'm going to tell you something that will completely change your perspective on this. Yesterday, a woman wrote to me crying. She said, "I can't take it anymore, but I can't stay away from him. Every time I try, he comes back with those sweet words, makes me feel guilty, and I fall into the same trap." You know what I'm talking about, don't you? It's that person who leaves you exhausted, who drains your energy, who makes you question your own sanity. It's the narcissist in your life. And today, I'm going to show you something revolutionary. God sees your pain. He sees how you've been suffering, how you've been crying in silence, how you've been losing pieces of yourself in this toxic relationship. And you know what he's doing? He's preparing the way out for you. There are clear, undeniable signs that God is removing this narcissist from your life, but you need to recognize these signs before it's too late, because ignoring divine warnings can cost you years of your life, your self-esteem, and even your mental sanity. If you're tired of suffering, if you're ready to recognize the truth and act, then stay with me. I'm going to show you exactly how God operates to set you free. Let me tell you about Sarah. She spent 8 years married to a narcissist. He controlled her, manipulated her, made her believe she was crazy. Sarah prayed every day asking God to change her husband, but God had other plans. One day, in a trivial conversation, her husband revealed something that made Sarah realize that his entire life was a lie. In that moment, she understood. It wasn't God who needed to change her husband. It was God showing her who he really was. You see, when a narcissist is in your life, God doesn't just sit there watching you suffer. He acts. But he acts in ways that sometimes we can't recognize because we're too focused on the pain. The first truth you need to understand is this: God never gave you this toxic relationship. The narcissist entered your life through free will, through masks and manipulations. But God, in his infinite wisdom, uses even the most painful situations to teach you, strengthen you, and most importantly, set you free. Think with me, how many times have you felt that tightness in your chest when you were near this person? How many times have you had insomnia thinking about the cruel words you heard? How many times have you looked in the mirror and didn't recognize who was there? This isn't coincidence. It's your spirit reacting to emotional poison. It's God through your own body showing you that something is wrong. The narcissist can fool your mind with gaslighting, can manipulate your emotions with blackmail, but they can't fool your spirit. And it's through this spirit that God communicates with you. Wayne Dyer always said, "When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change." And that's exactly what's happening now in your life. By the way, tell me in the comments what city you're watching this video from. I want to know where the people who are ready to be set free are. Now I'm going to reveal the first sign that God is preparing to remove this narcissist from your life. And this sign will shock you. The first sign that God is removing the narcissist from your life is when their mask starts to fall in front of other people. You know this mask, don't you? It's that charismatic, charming person that everyone loves. The narcissist is an expert at maintaining this perfect facade for the outside world. But something interesting happens when God decides to act. He allows other people to see the true face of this person. Charlotte told me that for years, no one believed her when she talked about her ex-husband's abusive behavior. "But he's so kind," they would say. "He's so caring." Until one day at a family party, he exploded in front of everyone. No more mask, no more pretending. In that moment, Charlotte understood. It wasn't her who was imagining things. It was God revealing the truth to those who needed to see it. When this happens in your life, pay attention. It's the universe conspiring in your favor. It's God removing the cloak of protection that the narcissist used to maintain their image. The narcissist might even try to fix the situation afterward, make up excuses, blame stress, alcohol, anything. But people saw. And once the mask falls, It never fits the same way again. This also serves you. You start to see patterns that you previously ignored. That mean joke wasn't a joke, it was cruelty in disguise. That protective jealousy wasn't love, it was pure control. That concern wasn't care, it was manipulation. It's as if God put special glasses on you to see reality. Suddenly you see the contradictions, the lies, the manipulations that were always there, but that you couldn't process. Remember the biblical story of Samson and Delilah. Samson was blinded by love, couldn't see that Delilah was trying to destroy him, but when God allowed him to lose everything, that's exactly when he recovered his true strength. Sometimes God needs to allow you to see the worst of the narcissist so that you find the strength to walk away. Is it painful? Yes, but it's necessary. If you've noticed that lately this person has been revealing themselves more, if they've been showing their cruel side to other people, if you've been able to see things that previously went unnoticed, know that this is the first sign. But there's a second sign that's even more powerful. The second sign that God is removing the narcissist from your life is when you start to feel an inexplicable repulsion toward this person. It's not anger, it's not hurt, it's something deeper. It's as if your spirit rejects their presence. You might even try to rationalize, think, I shouldn't feel this way. But your physical body reacts. Amanda described it to me exactly like this. It was like my stomach would revolt when he came near. I didn't understand what was happening to me. This isn't coincidence. It's your divine protection system being activated. God created you with a spiritual radar that detects toxic energy. The problem is that when we're emotionally involved, we tend to ignore these signals. But when God decides to act, He amplifies these signals. He makes you feel in your body what your mind hasn't fully processed yet. Have you ever noticed how in nature animals can sense earthquakes before they happen? They get agitated, restless, try to flee. It's the survival instinct working. It's the same with you. Your spirit senses the emotional earthquake that this person represents in your life before your conscious mind accepts this reality. You might feel nauseous when you're near them. Your blood pressure might rise. You might have nightmares. You might simply not be able to tolerate their touch, smell, or even their voice anymore. Many people feel guilty about this. They think, how can I feel disgusted by someone I loved? But listen carefully. True love should never cause physical and emotional repulsion. What you felt before wasn't love. It was emotional dependency. It was trauma bond. It was the result of systematic psychological manipulation. Wayne Dyer taught that when something isn't aligned with our greater purpose, our body rejects it. It's divine wisdom operating through our intuition. So if you've been feeling this repulsion, if you've been having difficulty being in this person's presence, if your body has been reacting negatively, don't ignore it. Don't try to force feelings that no longer exist. Accept that God is preparing you for a new phase of your life, a phase where you won't have to live with toxic energy anymore. But the third sign is the most impressive of all. The third sign that God is removing the narcissist from your life is when circumstances begin to organize themselves to naturally separate you. It's as if the universe conspired to create distance between you two. Suddenly, job opportunities in other cities arise. Unexpected changes happen. Important commitments coincide. It's as if a greater force were orchestrating the separation. Betty experienced this intensely. She had been trying to leave the abusive relationship for years, but something always came up that forced her to stay. Until suddenly the apartment where they lived was sold by the owner. She got a promotion in another city, and her ex lost his job. It was like God was saying, "Now is the time," she told me. When God decides to move circumstances, nothing can stop it. He is the conductor of all situations. He can use a pandemic, a job change, a financial crisis, anything to create the perfect scenario for your liberation. What's interesting is that the narcissist will try everything to prevent these changes. They'll create drama, invent crises, try to convince you that you're making a terrible mistake. But notice one thing: when God opens a door, no one can close it. And when he closes one, no one can open it. It's in the Bible, in Revelation 3:8. You might even feel afraid of the changes. It's normal. The known, even if toxic, sometimes seems safer than the unknown, but this feeling is temporary. Think about Israel in the desert. They missed Egypt, even though they were slaves there. They preferred the known slavery to the unknown freedom. But God knew that the promised land was waiting for them. In your life, it's the same. God has an emotional promised land waiting for you. Healthy relationships, inner peace, restored self-esteem. But you need to leave Egypt behind. When circumstances begin to align to take you away from the narcissist, don't fight against it. Don't try to force things back to how they were before. Cooperate with the divine plan. If an opportunity for change has arisen, consider it seriously. If coincidental reasons to distance yourself have appeared, pay attention. If doors are closing on one side and opening on another, go where they open. But there's something that can sabotage this entire divine process. Now comes the most painful part. Many people recognize the signs that God is removing the narcissist from their life, but they resist the process. It's like trying to swim against the current of a river. You might even manage it for a while, but you'll get tired, you'll get hurt, and in the end, the water always wins. Why do we do this? Why do we fight against our own liberation? The answer is more complex than it seems. First, there's trauma bonding. It's a chemical bond that forms in the brain when you live through cycles of abuse and reconciliation. Your brain becomes addicted to the emotional ups and downs, like a drug. Second, there's the fear of emptiness. When you spend years being defined by a toxic relationship, when your entire identity revolves around this person, the idea of being alone seems terrifying. Third, there's the manipulation from the narcissist themselves. They know exactly when you're pulling away, and that's when they pull out all the stops: promises of change, declarations of love, suicide threats, emotional blackmail. Claudia told me that every time she decided to leave, her ex-husband would show up with flowers, cry, swear he would change, say he couldn't live without her. And I believed him, she said. I always believed him. But here's the truth no one tells you. When you resist God's plan to set you free, you're not just prolonging your suffering, you're preventing God from bringing better things into your life. It's as if you were tightly holding a rock, thinking it's a diamond, while God is trying to put a real diamond in your hand. But your hands are too busy holding the rock to receive the gift. Wayne Dyer said, "When you let go of what you are, you become what you can be." And this has never been more true than in your current situation. God isn't trying to punish you by removing this person from your life. He's trying to prepare you for something much better, but you need to trust the process. Remember the story of Lot? When the angels came to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, they told the family not to look back. But Lot's wife looked back, and she turned into a pillar of salt. The message is clear. When God is taking you out of a toxic situation, don't look back. Don't cling to what was destroying you. But how do you know if you should really trust this process? Jesus said, "By their fruits you will know them." And this is the key to understanding whether you should indeed let God remove the narcissist from your life. Let's be practical. Look at the fruits this person has brought to your life in recent years. Not the occasional moments of happiness, but the general, consistent result of their presence. Have you become a more anxious or more peaceful person? Has your self-esteem increased or decreased? Do you feel more confident or more insecure? Do you sleep better or worse? Has your physical health improved or worsened? Danielle did this exercise and was shocked. I realized that in 5 years of relationship, I developed panic syndrome, nervous gastritis, insomnia, and lost 3 jobs because I couldn't concentrate, she told me. Those are the fruits. and bad fruits come from bad trees. The narcissist might argue that the problems are yours, that you're too sensitive, that you have psychological problems. But the truth is that you didn't have these problems before they appeared in your life, or if you did, they worsened dramatically. This isn't coincidence, it's cause and effect. The Bible is clear. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a bad tree bear good fruit. If the fruits are bad, the tree is bad. Period. Now, when God removes this toxic influence from your life, the fruits begin to change. It might not be immediate because you need time to heal, but the change happens. You start sleeping better. Your anxiety decreases. You laugh more. Your friendships strengthen. Your creativity returns. You rediscover who you are when you're not constantly being attacked, diminished, or controlled. It's like leaving a dark room and breathing fresh air for the first time in years. I want you to do something now. Stop for a moment and think, how was your life before this person appeared? How did you feel? How did you act? What dreams did you have? Now compare it to who you are today. If the difference is striking, if you've become a shadow of who you used to be, then you have your confirmation. God doesn't want you to be a shadow. He wants you to shine with the light He placed within you. And when you understand this, when you really accept that you deserve much more, then you can cooperate with the divine plan for your liberation. But there's one last piece to this puzzle. One of the hardest things to understand about God's plan is the timing. Why doesn't He remove the narcissist immediately? Why does He allow you to suffer for so long? The answer will surprise you, because God is preparing you for something much greater, and you weren't ready to receive it yet. Helen spent 10 years in an abusive marriage. She prayed every day, asking God to take her husband out of her life, but nothing happened. Until one day, she realized something. She wasn't praying to be liberated. She was praying for God to do the work that she should do. When Helen changed her prayer from God, remove him from me, to God, give me strength to make the right decisions, everything changed. Look, God respects your free will. He won't force you out of a toxic situation. He'll create all the conditions for it, give you all the signs, open all the doors, but the final decision is yours. And sometimes He needs to wait for you to develop the emotional strength necessary to not go back. Because what's the point of Him removing the narcissist from your life today if you're going to run after them tomorrow? It's like a drug addict. There's no point hiding the drug from them if they haven't stopped being addicted. They'll look for it elsewhere. The change needs to happen from the inside out. God uses the waiting time to strengthen you, to teach you about your own worth, to show you that you can live without this person. Every time you endure another day without giving in to the manipulations, you get stronger. Every time you resist the hoovering, you develop more emotional immunity. Every time you choose truth instead of illusion, you get closer to the person God wants you to be. Wayne Dyer always said, "You cannot solve a problem with the same mentality that created it." So God first needs to change your mentality before changing your reality. God's timing is perfect because He sees the end from the beginning. He knows exactly when you'll be strong enough to not only leave, but to stay away. And when that moment comes, when you're truly ready, events will unfold with a speed that will surprise you. It's as if the entire universe were waiting for you to say, "I'm ready, God. Thy will be done." And then, finally, complete liberation happens. When God finally removes the narcissist from your life, it's like a giant weight lifts off your shoulders. But liberation doesn't just happen in the physical world, it happens first in the spiritual world. There's a specific moment where you simply disconnect emotionally from this person. It's not gradual, it's instantaneous. As if someone had unplugged a cable. Fernanda described it like this: "It was like waking up from a nightmare. Suddenly I looked at him and thought, my God, why did I waste so much of my life on this?" This moment of clarity is the sign that God's work in your life is complete. You no longer feel anger. You no longer feel hurt. You no longer feel pity. You simply don't feel anything anymore. And this indifference is true freedom. The narcissist might even try to come back after this. They always try. But when God truly sets you free, these attempts no longer have power over you. It's as if you had developed emotional antibodies. You see the manipulative messages and feel nothing. You hear the empty promises and don't believe any of them. You witness the drama and don't get involved. You are truly free. And then miracles start happening in your life. Healthy relationships appear. Professional opportunities arise. Your health improves. Your joy returns. It's as if a curse had been broken. Because that's actually what happened. You were under an emotional curse, trapped in a web of manipulation that drained all your vital energy, and God broke that curse. But here's the most important part. After you're liberated, you have a responsibility. You need to protect this freedom. You can no longer open the door to toxic people. You can no longer ignore red flags. You can no longer accept crumbs of love when God has a feast prepared for you. Freedom is a gift from God, but maintaining it is your responsibility. And when you understand this, when you truly value what you've received, then you're ready for the final phase of this journey, helping other people find the same liberation. Because the pain you felt wasn't in vain. It qualified you to be an instrument of healing in other people's lives. And this is the last lesson God wants to teach you. Why did God allow you to go through all this? Why didn't He protect you from the beginning? Why did it have to hurt so much? The answer lies in purpose. Your pain had a specific purpose in God's plan for your life. First, it taught you discernment. You'll never again let yourself be fooled by narcissistic masks. You developed an emotional radar that can detect manipulation from miles away. Second, it taught you about your own worth. When you experience what it's like to have no value to someone, you learn to value yourself. You discover that you don't need anyone's validation to be complete. Third, it prepared you to help other people. Your experience qualified you to be a voice of hope for those who are still suffering. You became a survivor with a powerful message. Gabrielle now works helping women who leave abusive relationships. If I hadn't gone through all that, she told me, I would never be able to truly understand their pain. That's what God does. He transforms our greatest pain into our greatest purpose. And now looking back, you can see God's hand in every detail of your story. Every tear you cried, every sleepless night, every moment of despair, everything had a greater purpose. Wayne Dyer used to say, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And now you can look at your past pain not as a curse, but as preparation. God loves you too much to leave you in the mediocrity of a toxic relationship. He loves you too much to allow you to settle for crumbs when He has a feast prepared. And if you're watching this video today, if you've made it to the end, it's because God is speaking to you now. It's because your time to be set free has come. It's because He's saying, my son, my daughter, you deserve so much more than this. So accept the freedom He's offering. Cooperate with His plan for your life and trust that the best is yet to come. Because when God removes something from your life, it's always to put something infinitely better in its place. And that's the promise He makes to you today.